B2B.
Like,
No, business to business. We've got 5 ways to get B2B clients. Number 1, you can save them money. You can make them more money. You can make their job easier. You can reduce their risk, or you can just be more likable. Now, I've nailed the last one, but the other 4, no idea.
what was the first one?
Save a client money.
Save them money. That makes sense, right? You know, understanding the value that, and again, this is something we talk about every day to our clients. It's about understanding the value you're going to bring to a client, to a B2B customer, and saving them money is pretty obvious. Really,
I almost
right?
feel
Everybody
like
wants to
these
make more
are
money.
actually these are ways to maybe overcome certain objections or objections that may arise, or these are things to lead in with to actually close the client.
Yeah.
And if I can identify the different ways in which I can save you money,
Yeah.
in which I can make you money, in which I can make their life easier, reduce their risk, or essentially make you like me, then I win the battle.
How do we establish that key driver? Well, how do we establish that decision-making point for a B2B customer to make them
Is this
tick?
the triangle?
Okay.
Simon
yeah.
Bowen coined a phrase which was the iron triangle, and essentially it's a sales-based tool
Yeah.
or filter that you run things through. Yep. And so there's normally only 3 reasons, and you've got to identify which one matters the most, or
Yep.
what the degree towards each one is that will help someone sell something to someone else. Okay. And so those 3 things are time, budget, solution.
Okay.
Yep. So when do you need it done by? What essentially is your budget, or what amount can you afford in this? And then what is the outcome you're trying to achieve here? Now, the outcome can be very specific, but it can also be broad.
Yeah.
So I'll use a skylight, for example. The outcome might be that I want to brighten up a certain space. Yep. Now, that can then break up into 2 parts. It can be with artificial light or natural light.
Yeah.
So in this instance, if someone comes to you and they say, yep, I want to brighten up this space, the question isn't just, all right, what skylight are we putting in? But is it, do you want a light put in? Because we can brighten it up that way. So we need to clarify that space. If we want to go really specific, it might be, oh, look, I need a PowerPoint put in. Okay, great, I can get one put in, blah, blah, blah. This will be the cost. Oh, no. I want a flat matte black with this style of flicker button switch. Okay, that's really specific. So outcome, solution to the problem, time, when do you need this done by, and ultimately, okay, what kind of money are you wanting to spend?
Yeah.
Yep. So those things, when we ask the right questions in a sales-based process, can help us to actually identify, like, I guess, what the client's true need is.
Yeah.
And I think way too many people focus on price, personally.
And I think as well, that traditional sales triangle is maybe heavily B2C kind of based in a way.
Yep.
Because a lot of these decisions normally in a B2B sense
Yeah.
are already made.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes using this same format and asking the extra one question when you're having these conversations with another business is there any needs that aren't being met by their current electrician, by the current plumber that they're using to, you know, support
People
on
don't
their
know what they
jobs?
don't know.
No, exactly. Don't make assumptions. And that's something that we come across a lot is, you know, oh, they've already got a team of guys that do things. How do you know? You're literally making that assumption. Go in and ask, is there anything you would change? Maybe they've got a volume of work that's so high that they need to help somebody on, to take somebody else on. But then really establishing how to be able to sell yourself and generate a good relationship with that B2B client is going to be key by asking those extra questions.
Yep.
What do you like about the current service that you're provided? What would you change if you could change? They're just not quite fast enough, you know? All right, we're going to bring you value by making sure our team's on time. You know, every day we're giving you progress reports. We're going to make sure that the quality work's done right the first time, so we never have to come back and fix anything.
Yep.
And that's going to be answering to that driver, to that B2B client, right?
B2B for me has always been an easier space to operate.
Yep.
Because essentially you're approaching people not on like face value.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is it can often feel confronting to go direct to a consumer. Yep. But it's all the same thing. So I'm going to ask you a question and let's see how this goes, which way it goes. Right? In New South Wales at this point in time, is it legal or illegal for me to door knock a residential premises and sell my services?
Wow.
Now, your answer's the same as mine. I can already tell.
I would say it's legal because I've had people knock on my door.
Yep. Now, the answer is like you sat there and you're like, oh, I don't 100% know.
Yeah.
Yep. And so people jump straight to that conclusion initially when they are going to start trying to approach things. So it creates additional barriers in front of the B2C space.
Yeah.
When we talk about B2C space as well, it's often, how do I get in front of that single mum because that's what I sell and that's a perfect product for her? Mm-hmm. Whereas when you go at a business, listings are public. Those businesses are trying to be found.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, tell me, who lives in 13 Station Street, Bangalow? No idea. Like, you don't know. Yep.
I assumed it was you.
Well, I used to live there, actually. I did. But right now, it used to be a hairdresser salon, and then it turned into an antique space.
Yeah, okay.
But you can find that record. And so, therefore, that becomes an easy sell.
Yeah.
If I'm looking for hairdressing salons in the Northern Rivers, and that's my target audience, I can find that detail. I can find those details really easily.
Yeah.
Yep. And so the B2B space for me is a really fun and exciting place that too many people are fucking scared of.
Yeah.
Too many people are worried about, oh, what if my services aren't perfect for them? What if I can't do what they need? What if they've already got someone else?
Yeah.
It's like remove the what ifs and simply go with the information that's provided. Yep. Everything the light touches can be yours.
I love that. I really love that. It kind of just made me think about shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
Because, every single fish in that barrel has a need for your service. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you're trying to, reach out and get recognized or get noticed by the B2C kind of space, trying to get directly in front of the client, you might have to cast a net to 10,000 fish and there's only 2 that require services like that for now.
So let's look at, because we coach the trade space, trade and construction base. Yep, we deal with some service-based businesses, but they fall into this perfectly as well. Right? What is something that every business has? And I want you to, this is what we call divergent thinking.
Yeah.
So don't think on the parameters of the question that's being given, kind of remove some of the walls that sit around it. Every single business has, and you're going to, let's see what you do here. Every single business has, access to some form of premises. Now you go, no, they don't, because some people work from their home. That's the premises.
Yeah.
Yep. No, they don't. Some people are just an online business. That person lives in where? Yep. Even if they fucking live under a bridge, that's still a premises.
Yep.
Yep. And so then as a trade or construction-based business owner, if you can target or get in front of businesses, there is a very high likelihood that they have walls that require painting and gyprocking. Yep. That they have electricity that require all electrical contracting businesses to do something there. They have plumbing. They have flooring. They have roofing. They have spaces that need cleaning. They have, you name it.
Yep.
So if you can go after businesses, that showcases that there is something there for everyone. Now that in itself can scare people.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know where to start. Go to your next door neighbor. Go to industrial spaces. Like the average industrial location at the moment, I was talking with turkey. Oh, I love turkey. Do you like turkey?
I love turkey.
Well, I don't know what turking looks like. Is that a mix between like twerking and, don't know. But I was talking to the boys recently from Pure Air and Electrical when we were over in WA. And then I was having the same conversation with someone on our hurdle clearing call yesterday.
Yep.
They were like, I don't know where to start with my B2B. I said, go to the closest industrial space and walk into every single business in that area. Average probably have like 50.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, our little industrial space here that we're in a 300 square meter zone would probably have, what do you reckon? A couple hundred?
Yeah, easy.
Couple hundred.
Yeah.
We had this happen to us. Yep. An electrician walked in the door and we needed electrical work. They ended up charging us, it was $12,000 is what it ended up being the bill.
Yeah.
We were like, yeah, we need a couple of PowerPoints. $12,000 later, boom, that's a good client. And I think people underestimate that everyone needs your services and you're not going to get anywhere just by sitting down and not doing anything.
Yeah.
Go there and then identify what you might be able to do. Go back 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months later. Point out those things. You will have been educated during that journey of doing more outreach and trying to get more B2B clients, and you'll be able to give them more information.
Mm-hmm. And it's, bringing it all the way back to kind of those key points that kind of Kirk put out as well. It's like if you're going to, you're a plumber, you're reaching out to a pool installation company or an electrician. You're gonna, you offer to wire up their pumps and run all the cables and everything for those guys. The impact of them not having someone that's reliable that can turn up and do the job within their schedule, the effect that has on their profit margins, again, potentially the relationship with their client, and their, all of these little knock-on effects from just such a simple potential risk. If you can go in and present your services that you're going to be able to help mitigate that, then that's what's going to help really, solidify these relationships.
Yeah, I've got a national-based plumbing client. Yep, he now works with all of the Harvey Normans across the country and domains, and they sell these water purification like things that go filters. Underneath your sink in all of their stores. He picked up the contract to do the installations for every single one of them. So now when Harvey Normans sell those or domains sell those, they don't say, just got to call a plumber to get it sorted. They go, here's the card or here's the details. Scan this QR code and it'll take you to a page where you book in the installation. Like, that's genius.
Yeah.
We've got guys in the electrical space that do that kind of thing. Like I've got commercial kitchen companies that our clients work with, and every time they sell any combi ovens or maybe under-counter fridgings that need, is it 15 amp over 10? Yep, they need an upgrade or something like that. Like, they literally say, no, this is the person that you will use to do that work.
Yep.
That's a B2B relationship that's been built.
Yeah, I love that. And another big one recently is, we've been working a lot on is EV chargers. Focusing on, what brand do you want to focus on and what's going to be their driver to suggest you as an installer, especially with someone, like BMW or Mercedes or some of those slightly more higher end brands, How can you present yourself and what's the value you're going to bring to make them want to use you and suggest you to their clients?
Now, something that I loved on the Tuesday night call that we ran this week, foundation session.
Yep.
It was on understanding your numbers and knowing your numbers. But at the very start of that call, we asked 70 people that were in the call, what's the biggest win you've had this week? Do you want to know what the biggest win that the majority of people had across the board? I did my cold outreach to other businesses and I now have X amount of clients, X amount of appointments, X amount of whatever it might be. Now, I've been listening to a huge amount of your sessions lately. Yep, you've now been moved in the office and you're closer to me. And one of the things I've been hearing you talk massively about to your client base at the moment, especially when they're coming in as new clients, is identifying your avatars, the different businesses or consumers that you can work with, but then also you've been holding them almost hostage to pick a number of people that you're going to go after this period of time, week or fortnight, and then let's go through and actually identify who they are and how we can get in contact with them. How's that been going? And how do you actually do those steps?
Look, I think it goes well as an exercise for our clients to really understand what their niche is and their target audience, who they want to do that kind of work for. I think it's probably one of the most powerful things we kind of do at the journey of everyone we coach, right? Every client that kind of jumps on board. The cold outreach side of it and the, building up that list, that kind of that data scraping, that data mining of finding those clients.
Do you advise people pay someone to go and do that, or do you just say, man, just do it yourself at the start?
At the start, I like people to do it themselves, just because I think I want them to kind of have a bit of control over their potential next clients that they want to reach out to. And it just really
you also learn things about people when you're the one doing the research.
But then also to be able to pass on a task, to be able to delegate a task to somebody else, I feel like you need to know how that task runs first, so you know what the expectation is when you do hand that over to someone else. So you can obviously measure results. And I feel, again, I have to we judge it based on their current workload. If somebody's, struggling to find work and they're in a bit of a slump in their period, we might give them a target of, in that first 2 weeks, you need to find me 100, maybe 200, names, B2Bs to, businesses to work with. But But generally, and again, in that second session, it's always guys come back and say, I didn't quite get to that figure. And it's always a test. I tell them, it's like, if I tell you to get 10, you'll come back with 1. If I tell you to get 100, you're going to come back with 50.
Yeah.
You know, for me, it's about, you know, starting to set those kind of expectations with them, that volume is a big player.
It's also like, for me, it's also a component like gamification.
Yeah.
I grew up in the era and I loved things like Final Fantasy, those kind of like role play games where you're trying to level your character up. Yep. And I sit in that space where if I'm doing 10 cold outreach calls this week, or I'm going and try and build 10 relationships this week, next week I'm going to try for 12.
Yeah.
The week after that, I'm going to keep trying to push myself, you know, and I'm going to read a little message here just quickly. So this came from Christian and Jason, the boys over at Cabled In.
Yep.
They sent me a message today saying, just giving you a heads up, we are incredibly busy. We have put up an ad and are looking for another 2 tradies. This is a set of guys that I'm going to go 2 and a bit years ago. They were doing 30K months and it was just them, 2 people. Now they're a team of 20, 15 to 20, somewhere in that space. I know that they've got 10 billables. I'm just not sure on how many admin. But anyway, one of the questions they asked me was, Mitch, is this actually achievable? What we want to get to, is it actually achievable? And I said, it's all going to be dependent upon how much work you are willing to put in. Now, they've put in the work. Anyway, so I just said to him after that, I said, hey, mate, where did all the additional work come from? He said, really simple. The lead gen I did in January, the cold outreach I did to B2B clients in January is now paying off. Yep. Also, from that lead gen, our brand awareness over the last 3 months has taken off massively. People are seeing our cars, calling us and talking about us. So from all the calls that they do, this B2B outreach stuff that they do, which is what we're talking about here, they've had to put on an additional, they had 1 guy start last month and they've had to put on an additional 2 billable resources just this month alone.
Yeah.
One of the biggest problems we see in the B2B space is that people expect it to work today. You're talking about cold outreach. Hey, go call 50 people, go do this, go do that. It doesn't work right away.
No.
Yep. It's about consistent, continual outreach over time that yields a nice result.
100%. And I think getting back to, I guess, that initial question you ask is a big thing I explain to the guys, especially with B2B. You're not going to walk out there with a job in your hand. If that happens, amazing, right? But generally, it's a relationship that we need to nurture over the space of a month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe could be longer. But unless you go and have that conversation, present yourself and let them, make them aware that you're here and you have a service to provide and you guys align, then it's never going to move forward. So doing that groundwork at the start, and it's that long burn kind of lead, right? Direct to a consumer can maybe be a little bit faster turnover. You get, results maybe a little bit quicker, but the payoff from a B2B relationship is it's always going to yield way more results in the long run, I feel.
I like it. Any final words of wisdom?
Do your fucking lead gen.
Oh,
Sorry.
no, I wasn't, because you said the F word. Like, I'm all about effing. But I like you stole my line.
Yeah,
I like it,
mate. It's what we, it's the fuel. It's the fuel to the fire.
Yep.
And
I think a lot of people don't realize like that we practice so heavily what we preach here.
Yeah.
We have a team upstairs, I think it's five and it turns to 6 as of next week. Like, that do that lead generation space. We invest so much money. This is lead gen for us. We invest, it's about $50,000 to $60,000 a month into lead gen. We push so much energy and resources into that space. And when we're telling you that anything the light touches can be yours and you've just got to do X, Y, and Z strategies, these are tried and tested strategies that work across business in general. So if you can master the art of this, no matter what industry you go into, no matter what business you want to work in, no matter what you want to do, you will be more successful.
100%. This is, outreach is a true testament to input equals output. It's gold. And I think that's
shivers.
Honestly, it's just put in the work, right? Like we say
Put
to
it
guys
in
every single day.
Yep.
Just do it.
Awesome.
Just do it.